Why are landlords selling up in 2023? This is a big question I'm being asked all the time by my students, and so that's what I'm going to answer on this property training video. And I'm also going to consider, will this cause a housing market crash in 2023? We're going to look at the reasons why landlords are selling up in 2023, and what does it mean for you and your property investing? Well, hello, my name's Simon Zutshi, and I'm in a very unique position because I run 50 plus network meetings all around the UK every single month for property investors. And that means I've got my ear to the ground and I know exactly what's happening on, often way before anybody else in the country. And if you're a regular watcher of this YouTube channel, and you've watched my property education videos before, you know I've been saying for the last couple of years that more and more landlords are selling up. And in fact, landlords are selling up in 2023. Now, by the way, you should subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon to make sure you get notified whenever a new video comes out. And please do like the video. It helps the algorithm, and put any comments below as well. I'm really happy to answer as many questions as I can. And by the way, later in this video, I'm going to explain how you can actually attend one of those valuable monthly property networking meetings as my guest. So more on that later in this video. But first, let's get back to the reasons why landlords are selling up in 2023. Now, in any industry, you always have people coming into the industry and people exiting and retiring from the industry. That's always going to happen. And actually, prior to 2015, the number of landlords entering the UK housing market was on the increase. But from 2015, it all switched over. And there are more and more landlords leaving the UK property market than there are entering the market. So why is that? Well, it all started in 2015 when the Conservative government announced the plan to change the way property investors are taxed with the introduction of a policy called Section 24. Now, I've done videos on this YouTube channel before all about Section 24, so you can go and check those out. But briefly, Section 24 is where if you own property in your own name, which the vast majority of landlords did, and if you have mortgages, which again, most investors do, and if you're a higher rate taxpayer, which many property investors are, what it means is you're paying a lot more tax on the rental income from your property. Now, this was first introduced in 2015. At that time, there was a real knee-jerk reaction and a lot of landlords started panicking. A lot of landlords were completely unaware of it, by the way. And it wasn't until April 2017 when Section 24 was first introduced. And it was phased over 4 years. So really, it's only the last couple of years it's taken full effect. Now, to be honest, because many landlords had properties with very, very low interest rates, giving them very good cash flow, they didn't really feel the pain of the introduction of Section 24. That was until the last 12 months, where UK interest rates have steadily been increasing. Now, what that means is that there are some landlords who have properties where they were making really good cash flow for the last decade. And in this last year, because interest rates have gone up, the increasing interest rates have eaten up the profit that they were making, such that they're not making any cash flow from their investment properties. However, because of Section 24, the way the taxman calculates tax, they would say, actually, we have made a profit on those properties, even though there was no cash flow profit. So what that means is there will be some people, many hundreds of thousands of landlords, who are not actually making any money from their property because of the interest rates, but on paper, they're making profit. So they're going to have to pay money to the taxman at the end of the year. So no wonder more and more of these people who are no longer making money, but have had a great capital growth over the last 12 years are deciding to sell those properties. This is what I've been referring to for the last couple of years as the buy to let time bomb, where people were very happy with these very good cash flow they're making every month, but it wasn't because they were good properties. It was only because the Bank of England base rate was so low, and that's why they were making so much money. It was only a matter of time that interest rates would go back to rates similar before the credit crunch and the property market crash that we experienced in 2008. So that's one thing. Then you've got to add in all the changes in legislation. So there was new HMO licensing regulations came in October 2018, which means that more HMOs needed to have a mandatory license. And also they introduced minimum room sizes, which, by the way, I think is a good idea because it raises standards. Also, there was the introduction of Article 4 direction in many parts of England, and actually in Wales, all of Wales is now Article 4. And what this means is permitted development rights for HMOs have been removed. So normally prior to that, you could take a normal house, which was a C3 planning classification. You could turn it into an HMO for up to 6 people, which is a C4 classification, using permitted development rights. So you didn't need to get planning permission. Article 4 has taken away that right to do that. And so many people think that, again, you can't do HMOs in Article 4 areas. And then more recently, there's been a lot of talk about legislation in the serviced accommodation and short-term rental market. Now, again, I think this is a good idea to raise standards. These have been a bit like the Wild West, but this will cause many property investors to exit the UK property market. They're going to see it's too much hassle, too much uncertainty. And then to add to this, a few years ago, there was talk about the potential abolition of Section 21, which is how we as landlords remove tenants from properties. And that is now coming in. The abolition of Section 21 is coming in with the Renters Reform Bill. Now, I've recently done a property education video all about the Renters Reform Bill. You should check it out on this channel. Then there's more legislation about the requirements for EPC ratings, which is the Energy Performance Certificate, to be at least a C rating by 2025. Now that has been pushed back to 2028, but there's still lots of landlords are selling up because they don't want to spend the money they would need to spend to get it up to a C rating. In fact, some properties, it's almost near impossible to get to a C rating. So is it any wonder, with all these changes in taxation, in interest rates, in government legislation, why so many landlords are selling up in 2023? It also raises the question, well, is it still worth being a landlord in 2023? I'd love to know what your opinion is. Please comment below this video. I believe absolutely it is still worth being a landlord. It's not the same as it used to be. Things have changed, and generally people don't like change and don't like uncertainty, but we need to recognize the world is a rapidly changing place, and we need to adapt to change and embrace change and work out how can we move forward. Ultimately, there is still a shortage of accommodation in the UK, and it's only going to get worse with more landlords selling up in 2023. It means that rents on properties are going to go up because of supply and demand. There's just not enough accommodation. So it's good for those of us landlords who are still in the game, but unfortunately, it's not good for poor tenants who are going to end up paying more money. Now, with all these landlords selling their investment properties, what it means is we're seeing more properties come onto the market for sale. And with less buyers in the market, because of the uncertainty, because the market's going down, most amateurs are waiting at the sidelines to see what happens. There aren't as many buyers. It means it's become a buyer's market, so prices will continue to drop, which means if you know what you're doing, this is a great time to be picking up some bargain properties for people who just want to get out of the game. So I believe it's a great time to invest. It's a great time to buy as long as you know what you are doing. Now, please remember, if you're getting value from this, to like the video and type in any comments you have below, and also subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified so you don't miss any of these property education videos. Now, I did mention earlier that I wanted to give you a bit of a gift, and that's the opportunity for you to come and try a property investors network meeting for yourself. There are 50 plus meetings around the country. We even now have a physical meeting in the Netherlands, and very soon we're going to have one in Dubai as well. Some of our meetings are virtual if you can't physically attend. And look, most people don't like the idea of going to a place and meeting new people, but these meetings are very, very friendly. We'll make sure we look after you, and everyone there has got something in interest, something in common, which is the fact that you're interested in property. It doesn't matter what level you're at, everybody's welcome to come along. So all you have to do is go online, go to www.pinmeeting.co.uk. There'll be a link in the description below this video. look for your local meeting, check the date, make sure it works with you, scroll down to the bottom, and where you normally pay to come to the meeting, if you've never been before, I'd like to invite you to come and try it as my guest to see what you think, to see what you've been missing out on. So all you have to do is fill in the details and use a voucher code. Now, the voucher code we use is YouTube. So type in YouTube, it will bypass the payment page. You get a confirmation email and you can come as our guest. Now, if you've already been to a PIN meeting, you know how good they are. Hopefully you've already booked for your next meeting. You can use this voucher code YouTube. You can give it to family, friends, work colleagues, anyone who you think might benefit from coming along to one of our Property Investor Network meetings. I do hope this has been valuable for you. Please do like the video, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, and look out for the next video coming out. And look in the link below in the description to come and book your next PIN meeting. If you've never been to one of our Property Investor Network meetings, come along as our guest. As ever, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill. Thanks for watching the video. I do hope you got massive value from watching this YouTube video. I'd encourage you to click on the link below to come and do the online training with me. And I've got another video lined up for you, which I think is also going to be really useful that you should watch once you've registered for the online training with me. So invest with knowledge, invest with skill. I'll see you very soon.